Welcome. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And a blessed Advent to you in this first week of Advent that we're celebrating. We would love to hear from you, so send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. And today we will have our guest, Cassie Everett. She is the co-author of an unbelievable book, The Nursery of Heaven. Just think of the Nursery of Heaven. That just has to bring comfort to your soul. You could go to our website. It's everydayand.com.
It's a nice thought to think that Our Lady may be the head of the Nursery of Heaven.
I know. Isn't that comforting? And you could get this beautiful book also at ewtnrc.com. Well, Cassie shared so beautifully with us through the pain and the sorrows. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, the Proverbs tell us. And
wonderful witnesses from numerous women who've lost babies, not products of conception, babies at various stages and phases. And one of the things Cassie says is so important is to memorialize, to remember those that we've lost. And Joy, you wanted to share a little bit about how you memorialize the 9 miscarried grandchildren that we have.
Yeah, so we have 9 miscarried grandchildren. We have 17 live here on Earth with us. And, you know, one Christmas I was getting ready, you know, doing all the stockings and making everything. And I went to sleep that night and I had a dream. And the dream was there were some babies in my bed. And there was one little girl in particular. And she said to me, Nona, don't forget about us. And I woke up, it was like a really real dream to me. And I woke up and I told Jim about the dream. And I was like, what can I do? What do I need to do? I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So we had on our show this woman, Donna Murphy, who has an unbelievable website called heavensgain.com. So I have this beautiful baby that's wrapped in angel wings. And I have a picture of an ultrasound picture of a baby, because that's where most of our babies, we lost most of our pregnancies under 12 weeks of gestational development. And I have, you know, the pictures of all my grandchildren and stuff. And so I always keep this baby as a, to help me and us to remember. And our grandchildren come and they say, Nona, is that us? And then it's an opportunity to share about their cousins that are in heaven, some their brothers and sisters, and to connect them and to say, they're praying for you. And you might feel alone on this earth, but you're never alone. You have prayer partners in heaven. They're praying for your mommies and daddies. They're praying for your brothers and sisters. And that's the petition and the hope that we have in our beautiful faith.
It's beautifully said. We need to remember them. And also we want to remember that there'll be a Media Missionary webinar that's taking place tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So all media missionaries out there, you need to go to ewtnmissionaries.com, get in touch with our office so that you can be a part of it. You can also call 205-795-5771. We want to invite those of you that are not EWTN media missionaries to become one, to play your special role of prayer and intercession, play your special role in sharing with your parish about EWTN, and sharing publicly with all of your associations and connections. But you got to join the media missionaries. So join now. And you can join us tonight. ewtnmissionaries.com, ewtnmissionaries.com, 205-795-5771. It's a powerful show. The Lord gets the last word, and life prevails. Life wins over death. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and a blessed Advent to you. Today, our guest is beautiful Cassie Everts. She is the co-author of a beautiful book called The Nursery of Heaven. And if you have suffered a pregnancy loss of any kind, or maybe you've suffered the loss of a child, maybe 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, or you lost a child to cancer, just think of the thought, the nursery of heaven. And that alone should bring comfort to your soul. Today, you could go to her website, it's everydayAnn.com, and you could get that beautiful book, The Nursery of Heaven, at ytsync-en.
You can get the book, and Joy, we also purchased a portrait of the artwork in the front of the book, which is just incredible, with Our Lady, with all the children there with her in heaven. And Cassie, you know, we were saying earlier that maybe we'll share a particular aspect about this whole area, but I'm going to change that, so you need to be ready here. Let's speak to the grieving heart, because we're going to speak about memorializing and remembering, but I felt like the Lord was just saying, let's go to the grieving heart first, because if we don't deal with the grieving heart, sometimes it's like, I don't know if I want to memorialize. I don't know if I want to do anything. I've worked through this. Why are you bringing me back this? This is triggering pain for me. I've worked through this. And really maybe some haven't. And it's because the heart is wounded. And you make a number of points, and you can touch on any one you want. But you say, these are the things you need to be doing. Pray. Pray. Maybe you're not even able to articulate a prayer. Go to the regular prayers that you know, the Hail Mary, the Our Father. Or, I think of, with sighs and groans too deep for words, the Spirit discerns the things of the Spirit. So maybe your prayer is crying, moaning, groaning. Maybe there's a little bit of anger coming up in there. You know what? God can handle everything. So pray, you say. And then you say, honor this child. Honor your child. Maybe people aren't even thinking, what do you mean, honor my child that's been miscarried or that was stillborn? And you suggest some ways. You say, remember. Do something to remember your child. Remember. I always like to think of remember as R-E-member. Remember. Bring his members, her members back somehow, some way to you and to your loved ones and to your other children, if you have other children. Journal. That's really good, the journaling. Sometimes you don't have anybody to speak to. Maybe we think nobody wants to hear. They really do. And you start journaling, and you listen to yourself. And maybe what you're saying about yourself isn't really nice. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? What if this happened? I feel terrible. I'm not a real woman. Or I don't know what you say. Or maybe it's other things. But journaling is just so important. Find community. You feel so alone and nobody understands and so on. And you know what? Nobody really does understand your particular loss and that particular child. Maybe they don't know it, but they can understand. Because you've suffered loss as well. They don't know exactly because it's unique, but you say, find yourself some community. Grow in your marriage. Because pregnancy loss, child loss is a real threat to harmony in the marriage. Work at your marriage. Grow in your marriage. Grow in affection. If you have children on earth, draw closer to them, cuddle them, hugging them, share with them, shed tears with them. Avoid triggers. And so, there are just things that bring the pain up, and you'll always have triggers throughout your life, but you're better able, probably are more equipped now to handle those triggers. But sometimes right away, we run into situations or people want to have conversations about things. You're not ready for that. You're too raw. And it's okay to say, I can't do that. Well, my Christmas is going to be a little bit different this year. I'm not going to do exactly what I plan on doing. Seek medical help. And then physical and mental health. That's worth the book in and of itself, just to get those tips. So anywhere you want to go with that, your thoughts about healing the broken heart.
Yeah, I think the grieving process can be often overwhelming and very confusing, and a lot of people do feel very isolated and alone. So in regards to finding community, and it doesn't have to be a large share group or a big group of people, maybe it's just one person that that's gone through something similar. And like you said, it doesn't have to be the exact experience because everybody's journey is so different and their grief is different. But finding maybe one or two people that have experienced a loss, that you feel like your grief is safe with, that you can share your heart with, and that they can maybe check in on you once in a while and just, I'm praying for you, how are you doing? And console you and let you know that what the process that you're going through, that it's very normal and okay to experience the feelings that you're having. So I think finding community is something that, and I think it's hard to do. I know for myself, I felt very isolated and alone, and it's, where do you turn to find this community? So I think that's very important.
Well, what
in the
does
journey.
everydayAnn.com offer?
Well, I started it because as it was a way for me to find healing, I guess, to write about it. I found writing, and even when I couldn't pray, I would write. I mean, the journaling part was, I would write, everything I was thinking and my thoughts and feelings to God. Just pour it all out there, no matter what it is. And sometimes you are angry with God, but He can handle it, and it's okay, to let Him know your feelings. And He already knows, the thoughts and feelings of your heart. But I started the blog and write because it was a way for me to find healing, to write about it, to write about my miscarriages, and what we were going through as a couple, what I was going through personally, in the hopes of helping somebody else that was alone and helping them find healing in the journey as well. And I think that's important.
And I guess it's a natural psychological thing, and you withdraw and you isolate, but that really is a tool of the enemy too, because it's not enough that you are grieving the loss of a child, and some are grieving better than others, and some are angry with God, and it's not enough that you've lost a child. The enemy wants to totally isolate you and maybe keep you trapped with negative thinking and thoughts, and he wants to decimate you as well as your child.
And your marriage.
And your marriage.
And your marriage.
And then the spirit of hopelessness and the spirit of despair. I mean, and you could listen to those voices, and it's really a matter of renewing your mind spiritually and just saying, God, no, you will not forsake me. You will not leave me. Do I feel that? Yes, but it's not true, right? And so you have to repel, but you're exhausted. You're broken, and you're probably at the lowest and weakest point of your own spiritual journey, right?
And I think in that, in addition to finding community, is when you are in the point where you're so broken and, you're trying to dispel those thoughts that the evil one's putting there in your heart, ask for prayers. Do not be afraid to ask people to pray for you. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't know, is it really that big of a deal? Am I making too big of a deal? Should I ask so-and-so? Maybe write somewhere and have your masses said. Have masses said for you and your husband, and your family. Create a community. Ask a friend, hey, and maybe you're not in the state where you want to do it yourself, but just say, hey, can you call 5 people or ask 5 people to pray for me?
Right.
Find this community of people that can pray for you, because we are this community in this body of Christ, and to build each other up in that, I think, is a beautiful way to help people find healing as well, to know people are praying for them even when they feel alone.
But even in your book where you talk about the saints, I mean, what about Saint Zélie, right? I mean, how many losses, right? Louis, it was like, oh my gosh, and then Saint Catherine of Siena, and you awaken these saints, Saint Gianna, and say, okay, these are 5 real people that you can say, pray for me, because I am this woman in despair.
So you got a whole section, saintly losses. And so speak to us about some of the saints that are there. And Joyce mentioned a few. Louis and Zélie Martin. I didn't realize they had 4 daughters that wound up being nuns or sisters?
5.
5?
5 that, entered, but they really were the parents to 9 children.
Right.
You see, I didn't get the loss.
Yeah, 4 of them passed away.
Yes.
And so they are a beautiful example, of this canonized married couple, but they experienced the cross. They experienced the heartache of losing children, but yet because of God's grace and faithfulness and virtue in their life, they were able to seek, turn their eyes towards the Christ, turn their eyes to the cross and cling on to that. So they lost 4 children, and one of their, I believe it was their last loss, of a 7-week-old, their daughter, because of neglect from the wet nurse. So how, awful Saint Zélie felt because of, I should have done something, and I think we all feel that as couples and as women, like, maybe I should have taken this other extra dose of progesterone. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have
took that walk.
Yes,
I shouldn't have ate that.
Yes,
oh no,
and we just
messes with you.
Yeah, we beat ourselves up over that. And she said that, and after that loss of her 7-week-old daughter, said we've experienced great misfortune, but I must resign myself to God's will because I know that my child is now happy with God. So she experienced the loss and recognized it, but yet she had the hope and knew that her child was with Christ and was happy, and in that it brought her consolation.
Yes.
And she was also then, after that, her brother and sister-in-law lost their only son to stillborn. And she immediately, she had gone through so much and could be, kind of wallowing in her own grief, but she immediately wrote to them and offered consolation, saying, your baby, your child is with God. He sees you and he loves you, and you will see him again someday. We will see our children again someday in heaven, which is a beautiful witness. And then she also prayed, asked her children to intercede. So when we talk about finding people to pray for us, our babies in heaven, our children, ask them to pray. They are souls that live on with God for all eternity. One story she tells is that she was asking her son, who passed away just a few weeks prior, to pray for her daughter who had a terrible earache. And the next day, her daughter's earache was gone. I think, don't forget to, ask for our little ones' intercession as well.
Can you share a word about servant of God, Kiara Corbella and Enrico Petrillo, who they are and just what they went through, the kind of modern day people?
Yeah, a modern day saint, for our time. She died at the age of 28 in 2012. So a very present day. I shouldn't say saint, she's not officially canonized, but on the path, servant of God. And she had 3 children. 2 of them they lost. And during her first pregnancy, they had an ultrasound, and it showed that the baby had anencephaly, where part of the skull and scalp and brain were missing. And the doctor advised them to have an abortion, but her husband said, I will not abandon my daughter. She's our daughter, and we will accompany her as far as we're able to on the journey. Servant of God Kiara gave birth to their little Maria. She lived 30 minutes, but they were able to have her baptized by the same priest that married them. And after giving birth to her, she said that giving birth and the day that Maria was born was one of the most beautiful days of her life. And she said, I will tell all of my children that they have a sister praying for them in heaven, which I think is so beautiful, to connect our children in heaven with our children here on earth and let them know too that they have siblings in heaven that are praying for them. She went on then a few months later to conceive again, and this time they found out that their son was missing a leg and part of an arm. And the second ultrasound showed kidney failure, and that meant that the child would not live long outside of the womb. The doctor pushed them to have an abortion, and again, they refused. And this is, she just passed in 2012, so this is modern day. Can you imagine our medical community and what some of them are like today, pressuring when anything's wrong to have an abortion, but they were so strong in their faith. I believe their little David lived about 38 minutes, and they were also able, to have him baptized. She became pregnant a 3rd time. This time, a healthy baby, healthy pregnancy. But to their shock and surprise, they found that Kiara had cancer on her tongue. And she said, do whatever you need to, kind of like St. Gianna, do whatever you need to save this baby, to save the child. And they gave birth to a healthy little baby boy. And within the year, servant of God, Kiara, her cancer spread throughout her body. And she died after just being married 3 years in her wedding. She died in her wedding dress. And what a beautiful witness to motherhood, to marriage, to eternal life,
to family.
Yes, to family.
And to the medical community, and just saying, I'm going to suffer, but God is going to be in the midst of my suffering in this journey. And the suffering doesn't get the last voice, the victory. There's victory in all this, and there's life after life. And people say, oh, and the medical community believes that they are doing the most compassionate thing to encourage abortion when a woman has an adverse diagnosis, because they want to spare her of that misery and that heartache. But you are this baby's mother. However long you're carrying this baby in your womb, right? And chemically, why don't you share with our people what happens to the cells of these babies if we have a miscarriage baby?
Yeah, and servant of God, Kiara, gives a beautiful quote. That, she kind of summarizes that it doesn't matter how long you've carried this child, a few weeks, few months, that you are a mother, you've had this gift, and that's what matters. And while our child always remains with us, in our heart, in our memory, we think of our baby, doesn't matter how many decades have passed, like we never forget that baby. Their soul lives on, but there's a physical connection.
Can I hold it right there? That's a good tease. We're going to hold you over for the next segment. We want to know about what you're about to share about the cells, okay? Nursery of Heaven is the book, Miscarriage, Stillbirth, and Infant Loss in the Lives of the Saints and Today's Parents. You can go to everydayand.com and ytsync-en to get this most important book. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, we're going to close our show today with Cassie Everett, the co-author of the beautiful book called The Nursery of Heaven. And she has a blog, everydayand.com. But Cassie, before we went to break, you were sharing about the cells of that miscarried baby always being with the mom. Tell us about that scientifically.
Yeah, so it's the term microchimerism, and it's where every child that as mothers that we conceive, whether it's a child that's miscarried or lives a few moments or is born stillborn or, you know, grows to a ripe old age, the cells of that child stay in the mother forever.
Forever.
Forever. We have cells from every single baby we've conceived with us forever. And so our child is never really gone. You know, obviously they live on, their soul lives on in heaven, but cells are with us. And then those cells are passed on to our future children. So it links, you know, our children here on earth with their heavenly siblings, which is so beautiful to think of. And I think in that, it can bring us a lot of consolation and a lot of hope, you know, in our heartache and our grief. You know, here we are on earth suffering, but never to forget the reality that these children are in heaven with their Creator. You know, they're happy because they're before God, and that they're always with us. Their cells are a part of us, but then also spiritually, you know, their souls live on forever. Mother Angelica, I don't want to try and paraphrase her quote exactly, but in the back of the book, she gives this beautiful reflection of, you know, a couple asking, you know, why, my Lord, why would you allow this to happen? The children will not experience, you know, the wind or the glory or, you know, the blessings of this earth. And it's as if God is responding and saying, you know, your child may not hear the wind here on earth, but what they hear are the angels singing before my throne. Your child may not experience, you know, the joy and the blessings here on earth, but what they experience are the everlasting joy of being before their Creator in heaven. And then she goes on and saying, and I think this just hits home so much, to reflect on this, that, you know, even though these children were created for a short time, no matter what that may be, they have the image of their parents imprinted on their face, you know, little reflections of every single couple. And that image of their parents on their face standing before God as their parents' personal intercessor. And I think in that can bring us so much hope and consolation, especially in our moments, you know. We have these little images of us running around in the nursery of heaven, but before God, praying for us and interceding for us, and to never forget that. And another thing I have brought me hope in this is that I don't know about anybody else's house, but when my husband comes home from work, it is chaos. And maybe it's because I have 5 kids, but it is crazy wild. You know, the little 14-month-old is toddling up, da-da-da-da. The other ones, you know, some of them are hiding from him, some of them are screaming, you know, Daddy's home. It's just chaos. And this image of when we get to heaven, God willing, our babies will be there to meet us. And they will come running up to us with arms wide open, and they will embrace us, and they will say, Mommy is home. My mommy is finally home. And to be welcomed in that embrace can bring us such comfort.
We are going to conclude right there. I can't think of a better place. And you are such a blessing and such a reason for hope. And thanks for giving voice to these parents who've lost children at various stages, for giving voice to the saints and giving voice to the voiceless. Again, the book is Nursery of Heaven, Miscarriage, Stillbirth, Infant Loss in the Lives of the Saints and Today's Parents. Go to ytsync-en and get it. There is everlasting life. Death does not have the last word. Heaven has the last word. Jesus Christ has the last word. Have hope in Him. You're an important part of this family. You're never alone. You're always at home with Jim and with Joy. Bye now.